Hey guys. So it's your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration here. So I was trying to come into my car to take a nap. But God said, no. So, no napping for me. But I do have a message that needs to be released because literally, like I said, I'm like, I need a nap, Lord. I need a nap on my lunch break. He's like, no nap. You got work to do. So this basically what God was putting on my heart. He put Matthew 19 verse 26. Matthew 19 verse 26. Basically what Jesus is saying that with man alone it's not possible, but with God all things are possible. And so that brought me back to a message that I've been speaking for years. Hey Norma, a message that I've been speaking for years is there's a lot of things that we are praying for. No, let me not say praying for. Let me correct myself. There are things that we are hoping for, that we want to happen. But we just don't believe that it's not possible because within our own power, right? Your power, my power, right? Because there's a thing called willpower. So we think, well, I have willpower. I'm determined. All these great things, but then certain things are just not happening within your own power. When those types of things don't happen, that means it's time for you to tap into God's power. This is why some people are not healing. This is why certain things, prosperity is not hitting people's homes. This is why restoration and relationships are not. Because you're trying to do everything in your power instead of doing things and leaving it in God's power. Our power is limited. Our power can't do what God can do. God can move mountains, we can't. Okay? He can move mountains, we can't. So, if that's normal, then this message is for you, right? We are looking at, trust me, when I started my weight loss journey, now everyone knows I literally have tried everything. I was out here paying. There's a doctor, I don't know if they're still there, but there was a doctor in Lower Manhattan. I'm in New York City. There's a doctor in Lower Manhattan, and I used to pay this woman, I want to say like $175 a week, no, every 2 weeks, for these shakes that ended up being a regular brand of shakes that I won't name. And this doctor will bottle them up, and she would give it to us. And I had lost like 40 pounds, but the problem I became dependent on these shakes. So now there's a blizzard. Her office is closed. I can't get my shakes. That means that now I'm unable to go out there and drink and and continue to lose the weight. There was limitations because I'm looking at this doctor as she is the power. She's gonna get me to that finish line. And God is looking like, are you serious? So trying to get weight loss surgery, being denied twice, not one time, 2 times, over 350 pounds, being denied. And here I am trying, God, I'm trying weight loss, I'm trying all these products. And God is sitting there like, if you just try me, like, listen to me, let me be a part of this process, and I'm going to make sure that everything is going to work out. And once I did that, that's when everything started to shift. I had to just give it to God. It was just like, God, here, like, I can't do this. I tried it. It's not working. Let me see what you can do. That's what a lot of us have to do. See, we think, and this is where we have to get out this mindset. This is a religious mindset that I think when people feel as though I want to invite God, when you say I want to invite God into my life, people are thinking, oh, you're religious. God don't have time for religion. God is out here. Souls need to be saved. People need to be healed. At the end of the day, that's God's purpose. The building the church, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when you get up in the morning and you're feeling defeated. Like, for you to wake up already with a negative mindset, that's not God. That's you. There's something that you went to bed because you didn't give it to God. You didn't hand it to him. So you woke up with this thing still in your mind. It's still in your spirit and it's weighing you down. And that's why you woke up. Instead of going to bed and saying, God, you know what? Look, I can't do nothing about this. I got a situation right now that I'm sitting here like, you know what, God? Only you can turn the mind around of this person. Only you. I can't. I can convince them. I can do things in the lines of manipulation. But I said, no, God, whatever this person is dealing with, I need you to go over there. And I'm going to ask you on their behalf, hey, can you talk to them so that we can try to figure this out? Because I can't do it. It's not within my power. That's how we have to start handling these situations. There's an issue on the job. You got to put that in God's hand. There's an issue with your children. You got to put that in God's hands. You can only do but so much. So if you're continuously, constantly doing the same things over and over, and you're yielding the same results, and they're not successful results, and you're sitting here frustrated, mad, and angry, don't be mad and angry at God, because you never invited him into that conversation. You never invited him to be a part of that. You try to be the problem solver. We try to be the Olivia Pope of our lives. We want to fix it. God wants to be your Olivia Pope. He wants to be your fixer. Because he can fix us. Because guess what? He is the manufacturer. Oh my gosh. Woo, Lord, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. God created us. Think about that, right? So God created us. He is the creator. He created you. He created me. So this thing about relationships, right? So one thing that I've been speaking to people that are married. And I spoke to a married couple that were in alignment of Christians. And that person said to me, she said, when my husband acts up, when he starts being in his feelings, she said, he doesn't even know why he's in his feelings. But guess why? Guess who knows why he's in his feelings? God. So she said sometimes it makes no sense to even talk to her husband. She has to first go talk to his creator and say, Lord, what's going on with him? Because he's the creator. He created this gentleman, so he knows. And again, we don't know. Sometimes we wake up, we're depressed, we're sad, and you don't know. Like, you ever just wake up and you feeling heavy, you're just like, oh, I don't know why I feel this way. But guess who do know? God knows. And we have to get into this habit of going to God and saying, Lord, like, help me. He's the creator of it. He created us. So he has to give us the answers. This is the reason why we're navigating through life. And there are a lot of people, you have a lot of money, right? You have a lot of money. But you feel like you have that money because of your power. Let me tell you something. When you start feeling that way, that's when God's going to take it away. God's going to take you through a season. And I know I've had one of those seasons. See, my problem was I always looked to everyone else to solve my problems, right? Everyone else. So when I was in my 20s, something happens. Pick up the phone. So-and-so, this is what happened. I could sit here and cry them a river. And guess what? Check is in the mail. Meet me after work. Somebody had a solution to my problem. Because I didn't have the power to solve my problem. So at that point, my younger age, I knew I didn't have the power. So I would go to other people. Never went to God. I used to go to God for things that were like, for school. That really, yes, God was a part of that. But like, I like school. So was it really me asking God to do anything out of the extraordinary? Or was it just, Tanisha, I already gave you that gift. I gave you that strength. You can figure that out. You got that. Call me when you got a real problem. And that's when I used to call God. I used to take classes that I could not understand the concept. Like, especially like accounting, before. And I remember taking a class and taking an exam. And I was like, Lord, I don't know nothing on this exam. I was not prepared. And I won't say I aced it, but I think I got like a low 90s. Yo, I had to give God all the glory, because at that particular time, at that particular moment, that's when Tanisha did not know the answers, and I was not prepared, and I had to lean on God to get me through that process. So that's when I traded in. I traded in my power, and I said, God, I need your power right now. That's what some of y'all need to do. There's things that you are truly believing, like, this is not possible. Like, Tanisha, this can never work out. I could never overcome this. I'm never going to get out of this situation. What? Are you talking about the God that I know? Are you talking about the God? Because I'm going to tell you, trust me, I can write a book on just the testimonies of my 30s, and I'm 36. I can write a book about the testimonies of just my 30s of what God has done. From the time that I said, hey, God, like this way I'm sitting in this car, it's like, hey, when I get in my car, I'm not driving. I'm not protecting myself. Chevy's not protecting me. God's protecting me. Because I have to get him into the passenger seat with me. And I'm like, we need to roll. That's how we have to start thinking. Everything. God just wants to be a part of all of our lives. He is like, I just want to navigate. I want to help you. Because see, God he does not lose. He does not lose. So when you have him on your team and you're thinking about, you're talking about, I need healing. You keep going to doctors after doctors after doctors after doctors. And nothing is changing in your health. But the moment that you go and you talk to God about it, God will either instantly heal you or God is going to give you the resources. See, because again, we go back to Genesis 1, Genesis 2, God talks about all of the healing powers that's out there. The fruits, the vegetables. Where do you think? This is why when you go to certain countries, they don't have ibuprofen like that. They don't have medicine. But when you go, they be like, all right, here's some leaves, and you boil that, and you drink that, and next thing you know, you're common cold. When I went to Jamaica, we went to the botanical garden. I had a bad cold when I went to Jamaica back in 2012. And I remember being at botanical garden, and I bought some tea. This lady was like, this tea right here is going to help cure your common cold. And before I left, because we didn't get to the botanical garden until like my second or third day, and by the time I was on my way back home, I was feeling better. Oh my gosh, wow. How is that possible? Oh, because God created, and he has all the herbs. He created all of that. God is like, I got healing power. God got the best healing power. Ibuprofen ain't got nothing on Jesus. Like nothing. But that's because I had to lean into that, into his power. And not the power of man or not the power of myself, but lean into his power. When I say, guys, your willpower is great. Your willpower will definitely, you will achieve many things. Again, with my willpower, I've achieved a lot. But even within that achievement, I was still battling depression. Do you know how many times I tried to commit suicide in my own willpower? And people used to really think, like, Tanisha, like, you're lucky. Yeah, I was a homeowner at 22 years old. I finished high school at 16, got my master's, working on my PhD. I was doing all these amazing things on paper. But my soul was damaged. I was in abusive, unhealthy relationships with toxic people. Again, thinking about committing suicide on a regular basis, attempting to commit suicide on a regular basis. People was just looking at the physical stuff. They was looking at, material things, but they didn't see what was happening inside. They didn't see when I would say to my boss, I see you tomorrow, knowing I already wrote the letter. I had all plans in my life that day. And God woke me up the next morning and said, oh, so you thought that was going to work? Yeah. We got work to do. That's God's power. That's what really made me stop. Like, stop playing with God. When you write that letter, you go ahead, and I took every Percocet that I had left, and I drank my wine, and I went to sleep thinking that was my last day, and God woke me up. That's not Tanisha's power. I can't sit here and be like, oh, I woke myself up. No, God woke me up. God was like, wake up, stupid. Wake up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he was doing. That's how I felt, because I woke up sick as a dog, because I got all these Percocets in my system. Don't worry, this is like years ago. 6 years ago, maybe longer than that, something like that. But it's been a long time, so don't worry, that's not like recent. But I say that because people were just like, yo, your life is amazing. My life was trash when I really think about it. Yes, I was blessed. Yes, I was given things. And I definitely appreciate that. But when I got into alignment with God, I saw things a lot different. I saw that I was blessed, but when I look back now, like how, like really from 2012 to now, all that God has, like, that's not Tanisha's power. That's those accomplishments in the past, those are nice. Those are nice accomplishments. But what God is doing now, please, man, I'm up here like, I just can't wait. And in the meantime, let me do what I have to do. Let me be obedient. This message was an obedient message. When I say, I'm sitting here, as you can see, I'm in my car. I'm back to work. And I'm sitting here like finishing up my class. And God, I just want to take a nap. And he was like, no, you got work to do. And I literally was just like, I got to come in here because somebody needs this. You need to remember. Go to Matthew 19, verse 26. Your power does not compare to God's power. And anything that you are battling with right now, I guarantee you, the moment that you rest it at God's feet, the moment that you say, Lord, I've tried it my way. I Googled it. I read textbooks. I went to Barnes and Nobles. I bought every book. I got the ebooks. God, I tried all of this. Ask him to be a part of that. Let him know, I trust you, because at this point, I can't do anything more. I'm powerless. And when you do that, things are going to shift. You're going to get answers. You're going to be delivered. You're going to feel peace. That's what we really want. We want peace. Right? Hey, Apostle, you should want peace. You shouldn't want to believe like, yo, God can do this for me. I know, I'm telling you, I'm a walking testimony. My power has a limit. God's power, there is no limit. And when you start speaking and surrounding yourself with the people that tap into God's power, you start to notice there's a difference in success. There's a difference of outcomes. I can go within my power and give me a good job. That makes a good salary. But God can send people to just bless you. And one day to match that salary. God can send people to pour into you that would be 100 times higher than the salary that you worked your butt off. You worked your butt off. You got that job. You went to school. You got that degree. Absolutely. But God is like, that's nice. Tap into me, and I'm going to show you what favor looks like. I'm going to show you what healing looks like. I'm going to show you what it really means to walk with me. Your life is going to change. So I want you, like I am praying that you truly will tap into that. That you will tap into God and let him just lead and take your life to a whole new level. Again, this is not about religion. This is not about going to a physical building. This is about sitting wherever you are right now and having a genuine conversation with God. Speak to God the way you speak to him. Don't speak to him the way you hear your pastor, you hear people. Don't go watch Joe Osteen and try to have that Joe Osteen voice talking to God. Talk to God how you speak to God. Okay? Talk to God how you speak to God. And this way, it will make it easier. This is my last point before I go back in. That's why I think it's so hard for people to hear God. Because I think people really have this notion like God sounds like T.D. Jakes. Or God sounds like Joe Osteen or Joyce Meyer. He sounds like your pastor. God sounds how you would know. I know. When I have those conversations with God, I know it's God. Because our conversations are a little bit different. And I know. But you have to just start. Sit in your car. Sit on your bed. Go in the bathroom. If you're at work, just sit there quietly and talk to God. Tell God what you need. Like I said, that relationship might not be over. But whatever it is that needs to change, go to God about it. Don't call the person. Call God. Tell God, Because God can turn that person's heart around. He can turn their minds around. He can open up their mouth. The same way God sat here, I literally felt like there was a push. God was like, you're going to go in that car. You're going to charge that phone. You're going to release this message, right? And I need you to speak. So if God can do that, because that means that there was someone out there who was connected to me that needs this word. And God said, I'm sending you right now. I'm sounding the alarms right now through you. And I'm going to push you. He pushed his word. So if he can do that for me to speak, for every apostle, every prophet that got to come out here, every pastor that got to show up, that got to show out and just do the work that God, then why do you think that your husband or your wife, that can't happen for? Your boss. Some of y'all are afraid to talk to your boss because, I'm going to be afraid. God is bigger than your boss. So we got to get to the point where you can't be afraid to speak up. But if you have some concerns, you talk to God about it first. God, look, you know how this person is. I'm about to go speak to them. Lord, can you be a part of this conversation? And then next thing you know, you sitting here like, you talking to the person, and it's not the person. It's like, who is this person? That happened to me one time. Y'all know I almost lost my home a couple of years ago. Went to court. I'm listening to the judge. The judge reminds you of Judge Judy. No, as the kids say, no cap. Like she was weird. Not weird, but she was like, this man owed $2,000. She was like, 48 hours or you're being evicted. Marshal's coming. Down. And I was like, oh snap. Like once I heard her, I was like, I owe like 4,000 and he owed 2. She gave him 48 hours. She gonna kick me out too. Next person, you get a week or else. That woman came to me. How are you? Okay, I'll give you 30 days. And I'm looking like, who is this woman? Because I owe more than some of these people in here. And she just gave them 48 hours and she's giving me 30 days. And then when I came back in 30 days, I still didn't have the money. And guess what she did? She gave me another 30 days. Why? Because I didn't talk to just her. I went to God first. I didn't worry about what her religion was. She was not a Christian. It was very obvious. But I spoke to God about her. And God shifted that whole courtroom around. Because the moment that... And I laughed because I was like really like... I'm like, if anyone was paying attention to how she spoke to the 2 people before me, how she spoke to me, and the person who came right after, how she spoke to them, they'd have been like, what? Why was she so nice to this woman? They would have think that, we had some kind of cahoots. Nah, I'm in cahoots with Jesus. And God went up in there and he changed that whole situation around. Yes, Apostle, that is favor. But I probably would have been homeless if I would have sat and I would have just went by myself. I wouldn't be in the place that I'm in still. Because I would have been in my own willpower, proud. God, I got this. People say I'm a fixer. No, yeah, God is he's a better fixer. Yeah, he's really the Olivia Pope. That's who God is. And that's how we navigate this process. So I'm a living testimony. Your power is limited. There's a cap. Just like when you fill up your tank, right? You ever fill up your tank? And what happens when it gets full? It taps out. You can't add anything else. But when God does it, God is like, nah, I got you. There is no limit. And so when they say sky's the limit, no, there is no, God has no limit. This is the reason why we see people out here thriving things like Apostle Boykins. I've been following him for years now. You never met him and his wife. They live over in California. But when I listened to his story, when I really started to take my walk real serious, understanding my ministry and my spiritual calling, I had to hear other people's favor in their walk and understand, like, so this is not unusual. Because what I was experiencing, I couldn't speak to those because they didn't understand. People still think I'm crazy. They be like, oh, so God was the reason why you lost 100 pounds? Yes. God is the reason why I lost 100 pounds. God's the reason why I started the journey in the first place. He's the reason. God gave me the first shopping list and said, go shopping and buy this. And people are looking at me like, oh, well, according to Weight Watchers, it should be this. And look, I don't care what Weight Watchers say. I don't care what Jenny Craig says. Because guess what? I've been there, tried that, and it didn't work, and it didn't last. But let me tell you what happened with God. 30 pounds in 30 days. Who can do that? God. When you about to be homeless, about to lose your whole home, thousands of dollars, not a security deposit, no shade. God said, no. He turned it around. Every single thing. When I let go of my power, when I let go of my ego, things was like, they were changing. That's what I want for all of us. That's what I want. That's what God wants for us. See, we're so consumed with the ways of the world, right? Romans 12:2. That's the verse that I live off. That's my verse. Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the ways of the world. And yeah, we do it every day. You go on Facebook and you go into these Facebook groups and you asking them, so what should I do with this? Talk to God about it. Ask God what you should do about it. Before you go talk to a coach, talk to God about it. What is he saying about the situation? Because your coach, I had a coach recently, and I had to, God said to separate ways because she got you up to a certain point. I got to take over for the rest. So yes, God is going to send people because he knows they speak your language, they understand, you're going to connect, but you also have to understand there's going to be a point in that process that God is going to say, okay, enough. Now you got to walk with me for the rest of this. I'm just saying. So this is why some of you have coaches and you're like, well, look, my coach was it $1,500. We didn't make it through the whole program because God said to stop. She still got paid, right? She still got paid because I'm not gonna, just because God said, I got to take you through the rest of this. But I had to understand that God is saying she can get you only but so far. My God. I got to take you the rest of the way. No other person can do that. So this is why people struggle. Because we worry about the money. Well, Lord, I spent $1,500, so I'm going to finish this program. What you mean don't listen to her anymore? What you mean, God? And God is like, yo, what did I say? Listen to me. I know better than anyone else. Because your coach is going to tell you to abort the mission, and I'm going to tell you got to sit patient and be quiet. Your coach doesn't understand that. His instructions is better. Therefore, I have to be obedient to that. I am a servant of the Lord. I know who I am. It might have taken me some time to accept who I am, but I know who I am. And that's why I can't play with God. That's why when I tell people and I work with coaches, I'm very transparent. We may not make it to the end of this process because I understand what God is doing. I have to respect what God is doing. I have to obey what God is telling me to do. So he brought me to you, but guess what? He said, stop here. Let's go. I got to take you the rest of the way. You can't feel any type of way about that. And if people do feel any type of way about that, then that means that their walk with God is not the same as your walk with God. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just stay obedient. Just understand that if God is taking you through a journey, he's going to get you to the final destination. Yes, you might end up being like me. You may stop. You know how many times I've stopped and started? But I stopped. And God was still standing there waiting. Because, see, my destiny, our destiny and our purpose, it doesn't go away. Like, God still needs to get it done. Now, a lot of us, we do end up dying, never fulfilling our purpose, never reaching our destiny. But that doesn't mean that God stopped it. You made an intentional decision. So when I would make those intentional decisions, God would still sit and press on me. This is the reason why. That's why they say if you know what you're supposed to do and you don't do it, that is technically a sin. So I was sinning when I knew what I was supposed to do, but I was in my feelings. I'm worrying about all my problems. I'm worrying about I don't have a man. God, why don't I have children? That's why God had to smack me upside my head a couple of times. And he's like, you worrying about Mother's Day and you're sad and depressed. And, you know, you want your baby. And I understand that. And God had to heal me from that. And God is like, he's just speaking to me. And he's like, but I still need you to do other work. That doesn't mean that promise is not coming. But we can't afford to sit idle, worrying about that. Right? I'm seeing a vision right now. As you notice, I'm keep pointing this way. Your purpose is over there. I'm pointing over here. Your purpose is over there. You're over here sitting down. And God is like, can you get up? Because you got a destination to get to. This is why healing is a journey. It's a journey to your destiny. It's a journey to your purpose. This is why my program is called what? Healing for Purpose. We got to get there. So you got to stand up. You got to walk. You got to do the work, Tanisha. You got to walk. And when you start doing the work, you start to realize, oh, wow, everything that God told me I was going to get actually did come. And I'm actually, wow, it's more and bigger than what it was. But so many people never get there because we sit here and we're worrying about everything. And then we're trying to solve it within our own power, which makes it 10 times worse. And it delays it even further. But the moment that you just get into alignment and just say, all right, God, let me see. Because that's where I'm at now in my life. God, let me go. Let me go see what's over here. Because you keep pointing over here. You keep sending people to my inbox. I have people that still email me for weight loss. When I was still on my second highest weight now, I had people emailing me. Old email address. I read your article on so-and-so's and I Googled you and I would love, to meet, to speak with you. And I'm like, I don't even help people anymore. Like, I'm fat. What you need help for? And God is like, okay, but you already know the tools. You got the answers. So just because you're in your current situation, you still have the resources. You still have the wisdom. Now, whether you put it into play for yourself, but I'm sending my children to you because you have the wisdom that they need. Man, that's the problem. That's where a lot of us, because we feel like that. That's why I had to just get back on my game. Because God wasn't stopping. He's like, oh, you thought just because you no longer wanted to be Miss Inspiration, because you thought you no longer cared about your health and your weight, you thought I was going to stop sending people to you? Come on now. Come on. And I'm like, and then it just got, I had to just get on and just get my life together. Because I was just, all right, God, so you're just not going to stop. All right, cool. I get it. Let me move forward. That's how a lot of you, some of you, and hopefully you're not that bad as me, but needless to say, you want to get to your destiny, you want things to change in your life, the things that you're praying for, because some of you might not be praying for it. You might just be hoping for it. I'm hoping this happens, right? Hope is good, but when you actually pray and talk to God about it. And then the last part about it, because God didn't say he needed your assistance, right? There's a meme out there like DJ Khaled, and he's like peeking through the door and it's like, hey, God, I'm just seeing if you need any help. God don't need your help. See, this is not where it's like, oh, so if I combine my power and God's power, we're going to have superpower. God is like, nah, my power alone is super enough. I'm going to let you know what you need to do. But until I tell you something, be quiet. Sit down. Let me handle this. Or some of you just need to talk to him about it. Like, Lord, talk. Like I said, just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be anything. It don't have to be long. It don't have to be, ooh, like, you don't have to go. Just talk. Like, some of you just have to have a conversation with God. Just talk to him. Just sit and just be like, hey, Lord, what's up? Start that way. Like, start. It's going to be so worth it. So I am so happy I did come out here and I did release this message. I hope it has empowered someone to go to God, tap into his God power, and let me know when things start to shift and they move around for you. You're going to be like, girl, let me tell you, I gave it to God and this happened. That's all that I want for us. That's all that I want for us. I want it for you. I want it for me. I want it for the entire world, because so many of us would be in such a better place, such a calm, peaceful place, if we would just sit and turn it over to God. You would be so much better. Your life is going to change. You are going to have people thinking that you're crazy, which is cool, because God's going to deal with them. But that's not your concern. You got to do something. You have to get to that point. You have to let go of your power, let go of your control, and just let God be in control of everything in your life. So I am Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Oh, sorry. Thank you for spending this afternoon with me. Share this message, comment, let me know if this has empowered you, and just hold on to that, and just knowing that things are going to turn around. Things are going to turn around. I decree and declare everything is going to turn around the moment you tap into God's power. Talk to him about it. Okay? I'm praying for you all. I love you. Thank you.